Roll your dice, move your mice, nobody gets hurt. Welcome to M3 is 3D. I shoot a short film every day to give the authentic slice of life of a 3D printing entrepreneur. We've been in business for 6 years, and this is how it all works. Let's see what the fields hath yielded. Idol. This was a skull, but there was some kind of crazy snag there for a bit, so no bueno. We've got a wolfie. Sharko. This is a slightly less common one. This is the small alien can. Another D20. I think we have like 2 more of these things to make. The big Einstein can is coming along nicely. But the thing I'm most excited about here, of course, is the VHS wall mount. It's coming along quite nicely. It'll be a while before this guy is done, but it's looking good so far. We set the printers to print another round. Once they get going, for a little bit, I'll show you what they printed, but we're gonna spend some time optimizing listings on eRank. I'm gonna be exploring this a lot more, but this is, of course, the new Dachshund headphone stand. So we put all new tags here, and these are, these are new, they've been researched. Generally, you want the competition column here to be green, and even, some of these have extremely low competition. Whereas some of these, this is the searches and clicks, you kind of want them to be about as high as possible. And some of these are quite low, but sometimes dominating niches is not such a bad thing, even if they're really tiny niches. So bottom line, this is what I'm gonna do with a whole bunch of my listings. Probably basically every listing that isn't selling super well, and maybe a few of the ones that are. We're gonna work on our bearded dragon boy. So this here is kind of what you want. We've got pretty good, this is for bearded dragon. This is really good stuff here and fairly low competition. So you just kind of look through these tags. Some of them are longer than Etsy tags for some reason. And you start analyzing the stats. And the stats tell a lot. So let's pick a obvious one. 3D printed bearded dragon. I mean, that's a pretty obvious tag there. You can see that there's very little competition, and there's tons and tons of average searches, average clicks. So that's pretty good. That's the click-through rate, meaning like, well, it's kind of obvious what that means. But we are gonna add this tag, and basically we repeat this process with every relevant tag that probably, would be a match for our item. Wow, you really come across some horrible keywords in this research. It's an interesting process for the bearded dragon. There actually weren't that many tags for bearded dragons, but once you're through all the bearded dragon tags or related tags, then you start looking for like reptile, lizard, maybe some pet type things. Also, bearded dragons are from the Australian outback. Plus, I was thinking about people I knew growing up that had tons of reptiles. You start looking for other popular or, really optimized tags for like geckos and things like that, because if they're searching for that, there's some chance that they also have a bearded dragon, since that's one of the most popular species for pets. So we kind of came up with this. These bearded dragon cave, bearded dragon hide. That just means that that person is a fan of bearded dragons. So we're kind of operating on the Say's Law thing of like, they don't know what they want until they see it. And of course, some 3D printed ones. The same thing with this reptile branch. The only reason I included this is this was like the best tag I found in the entire thing. Like almost zero competition and tons of clicks. So reptile background, it's kind of a decorative sort of a thing. And the gecko and ball python, like I said, there's some chance. Bearded dragon birthday party had a very high intent, but that's too long for one tag. So we kind of did that. And this was actually a really good tag. So yeah, that's pretty much the process that I'm gonna go through with this, but printers are printing and I'll show you what's going on there. Trinket dish guy here. Of course, we're making a Moai over here. This is an Einstein. This too is an Einstein. And we made the wolf, but we got to make the paws. These are the paws. Like I alluded to earlier, we are going to set this guy up to just make another D20. Okay, it is coffee time now. Pretty nice day today. The tiniest bit chilly, but not bad. Why is everybody always dunking on me? We sprang for the fancy coffee today. Back at the shop, not only did we get coffee, but the $6.99 footlongs are back at Subway. The code now is footlong spelled out $6.99. Not a bad option price-wise or healthy-wise if you get the right thing. Also, it was nice enough out that I think we're gonna take a walk. A quick walk after I finish this bad boy. Then we're gonna do some optimization, and then we're going to package the things that we painted yesterday. That was really, really good. Let's get a little sunlight. Feels good to be in nature, such as it is. Genuinely just very nice out. Yeah, sometimes it does seem strange to me that I have the shop right across from a park. I'm like never here. I really need to appreciate this more. Obviously, I'm nowhere near the first person to make this point, but it occurs to me that, you know, as people raise kids nowadays, they need to try to replicate something that my generation did have. You know, if you're roughly my generation, which a lot of you are, you grew up without the internet, and the internet became a thing within your lifetime. So I grew up playing in the woods and doing stuff outside and playing sports to some degree, and that was just kind of normal. And then it's like the internet was this interesting curiosity that you had to go to the library to see. And you know, in that context, the internet was pretty great. I mean, it was amazing, honestly. Of course, we were all just fascinated by this world of possibility it presented. And I definitely think that's something that people should replicate for their kids in the next generation. It's like, let's keep the internet kind of a special thing that's an accessory to your life, not your whole life. It's like we need some modern equivalent of the return to the land movement. Like, yeah, the internet can have a lot to add to our life, but our life should still be our life. We should be playing board games with people. We should be getting outside and doing things. An entire day just kind of spent like looking at a screen or something. That's just, it's just a little too unhealthy. We can find a nice balance. And I feel like we will as a species. If nothing else, because the people who don't will be less likely to reproduce. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. See, even 15 minutes to a half hour per day, just being around some trees for a change. It feels so good. My mood is like 40% better right now. Okay, so this is a completely random and strange thing. This is an Amazon package for a flameless Jesus candle, and I did not order this. I really doubt the fan sent this to me, especially since it's from Amazon Fulfillment Services. All the fan stuff I tend to get is like made by fans, but I guess we've got this. It's not even scented, but all right. Doesn't even come with batteries. Jesus saves. He saves money by not including batteries, apparently. I've got some of these dollar store batteries. I guess we'll just use those. There we go. We'll put them by the lava lamps. Well, that was random. All right, at this point, I've been doing this for about an hour and a half, and we've assembled a really good list. I'm very glad I did this. Let me show you kind of how I've been doing this. So we're looking for the more obscure dog breeds. German short-haired pointer, not the most common. But you'll notice that competition is relatively small, and even though these aren't the best numbers you could ever imagine, it's like there's gonna be nobody that has 3D printed stuff. 5,000 for a category like this is nothing. There's gonna be nobody with 3D printed stuff like among all this. So it's like, I'm sure I'm gonna sell at least a couple. Honestly, even if I sold 4 or 5 of each of these, that would be pretty good. And I put together a whole list after doing this for a long time, and I will show you. Okay, I've just found a good one actually. Bernese Mountain Dog. Take a look at that. Very little competition, really good click-through rates, and look at all these searches and stuff. That's gonna be one we do. Here's the plan. We've got the list. Tons of research went into this. This is what we're gonna be doing, bros. Divided it into like A category, B, there's C, and on the next page, D, and experimental. Now, this is the best ones that just had the best ratios for everything. Australian Shepherd, Cocker Spaniel, Border Collie, Samoyed, whatever this is, Whippet. I'm really looking forward to that. Rhodesian Ridgeback, Bull Terrier, German Shorthair Pointer, Burmese. Yeah. These ones had just solid gold stats. These guys had less demand. There was something sort of imperfect, but it was still there that it's like, yeah, we should do this once we get these done. There are a few that were just like a little less good, so we made C category there. It's the full C category, and these I'm considering experimental because there were people searching for it, but there were hardly any products for these. There was essentially zero competition, but there weren't a lot of searches, but there might not have been very many searches because there was nothing to search for. So I think we're occasionally, when we're doing the A category, we're gonna throw in some of these because it's like, these may be big, fairly big audiences that have nothing to buy. You know, they're not searching for anything because nothing's out there. It's an experimental category. So for at least a couple months, we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna do dogs, and then I'm thinking about like doing like different breeds of lizards, maybe some cats. There's so many things. We could start doing birds. Might be a little harder to paint some of them if they're really colorful, but there's gonna be at least a few kinds of pet birds and stuff that you could do this with. That was a really good experiment. I think it's going to pay off, and I've used these keyword tools before. I just kind of almost forgot that they exist. So that's the experiment for today. Now we're gonna package some of our beautiful, beautiful products. Let's paint some eyes, sharky eyes and doggy eyes. There we go. Yup. That's a gorgeous boy right there. Just painted the eyes on a green shark. A little custom jobby for somebody. Well, it's time to send Commander Sparkles off to his forever home. Salute him goodbye. Time to paint the alien. Small T-Rex skull. Einstein. Of course, a really fun one. The bronze Churchill pipe holder. Peter Sharky boy. Time to time to ship the playing card holders. Eyes and nose are dries, so this guy's going out. Now we're gonna get some pictures of green shark because we might as well get another product out of this. Get towards that 150 for the year. Time to ship him off. And we got a white David, a gorgeous fella, gold hippo, got a moai. Time to package the octo, little black otter, elk skull. Oh, well, that's pretty good for today. We got a bunch of stuff packaged, obviously, made a whole bunch of filaments. Somebody won Cop Dog. We're gonna send him off. And actually the dude sounds really, really stoked. I like that my guys are going to fans. It just makes me feel good to know that somebody's gonna put this on their desk and look at Cop Dog all the time. That's really a special thing. The VHS rack, man, it's a good looking piece. I just love the regularity of it. Also, I designed this to have hanging holes everywhere. You know, in case somebody wants to put it in some unique place or just needs some flexibility with the hanging method. But I would say this is about halfway done. Maybe a little less. and it's gonna be real cool looking. The new product board review is a Monday thing, but we got 4 this week. And technically both of these 2 were on Sunday, but there isn't 2 spaces. I guess I could redraw it if I really wanted to. But we got the green shark listed today, as well as cop dog. So if you just want to buy a cop dog or a green shark, they're for sale. We're gonna get the racks buzzing, and then it's gonna be the end of the day. Oh yeah, I was also gonna mention, we got a bunch of listings optimized. I've got 400, so I'm really trying to optimize the biggest ones first, but eventually I wanna do all of them. Just see, I think that'll make a big difference. So I'm here at the meat section in Kroger. It's kind of funny, they always have the Impossible burgers on sale. It's like they can't sell them. Turns out people really want their burgers to be possible. Some guy in there had the worst BO I've ever smelled in my entire life. You guys remember that app? It was called Blinkist. It was this thing that gave you summaries of all this different literature. It was some subscription service. I bet that was just completely destroyed by ChatGPT, because I can get a summary of basically anything, at least if it's like a well-known book. I can get a summary of it instantly for free. I bet they basically don't exist. It was kind of dumb anyway, because like all people were doing is paying $9.99 a month, not just to not sound dumb. Basically, it was a subscription service for Cliff Notes. Yeah, just read the book, bro. There's a reason why very few of those people that did Cliff Notes back in the day became doctors. You remember the huaraches from a couple episodes ago, and how I said they'd be good as like a pizza? We're gonna do it. Not in this episode, but because I ate most of them, I only have 1 left. But we got the stuff to make a little pizza, and yes, we do have some really, really unimpressive cheese. All right, we're about to do the end of day stuff, but I just wanted to look at one last thing before I close down the shop. eRank has this thing where it gives you a visibility score on each of your listings, and obviously 100% is the best, 0% is the worst. And so I just figured out that I can rank every listing in my shop by its visibility score. So over here, I've ranked them highest to lowest. All of these are 100, but look at which ones it is. These are the highest visibility products in my shop. Now you will notice, to a large extent, these are the listings that sell. As in, like, these are my best-selling listings. You've seen, if you've watched this show for long enough, you've seen, like, all of these, right? Now, you may say, well, so what? Like, what's the point of saying this? The point of saying this is you can do things in eRank, according to what it recommends and stuff, that gives your listings a higher visibility score. This shows, at least it strongly suggests, that if I make every listing have a visibility score of like 99% or 100, which is what a lot of these were, they might actually sell. In other words, what it's suggesting probably actually will increase sales, because the things it's giving the highest score to are the things that sell. I mean, it's a really obvious thing in hindsight, but this is a pretty big deal, because if I just optimize all the listings, I assume it's kind of inevitable that stuff will sell more. I mean, I've heard people say good things about eRank, so it all makes sense, but anyway, that's the last thing of the day, and the day is gonna be over now. Almost feels a little sad that Tank Commander Bulldog has left us. Sergeant Slobber, you're going to a great new home. This does feel really cool making these dogs. The person who got the cop dog today, he was real excited. Like, he's probably gonna watch this. I am super stoked for you to receive cop dog. He couldn't be going to a better home. I wrote a big post on Facebook about how optimistic I feel about 2025. I mean, it really is true. In some ways, I feel more optimistic and better about what I'm doing right now than I ever have in my entire life. That just feels like a strange thing. Sometimes I feel like you could kind of see in me that I am sort of a pessimistic person. Like, I know all of this stuff about gratitude, like, has defined the channel, and I do believe it. It's not fake. But that's in response to something. Like, one of the reasons I started doing all this gratitude stuff is because there's a real, like, cynical is too strong a word, but there's a real pessimistic streak in me. I mean, I think one of the things people appreciate about this channel and the general message and what we kind of talk about, it's like, I am a person who has failed at just so many things. Rick Wakeman had this quote that stuck with me. He said, "Success is buried in the garden of failure." Success is buried in the garden of failure. And it feels like after digging for a very, very, very long time, what's going to end up being like half of my life, I'm starting to get to some of that success. And there's just a real part of me that like kind of doesn't trust it. I mean, you guys probably know what that's like. It's like, after a while, it's like, oh yeah, sure, that's gonna work out. You get like so cynical about things that you're tempted to not even try stuff because it's like so many things haven't worked. It is a very specific kind of courage that it takes to keep being optimistic after you've failed at just a billion things. And that's why nobody succeeds at anything. Because with very few exceptions, the people that succeed had to fail like for 20 years at things. I guess I've been in business for about 10 years. There's another saying that says, overnight successes are 10 years in the making. And I feel like that's kind of me. I don't know, I guess it's early on in the year and I'm still like in that new year mentality. I'm just thinking about like what we're gonna do. You know, the Gratitude Gang is in a real great place. Join the Discord, it's wonderful. It's a great place of support. There's a reason I'm talking about it all the time. We have new people joining every day as well with new businesses and stuff. And I want to feature your business if you haven't been featured yet. But all of that's making me very optimistic. It's just giving me like the best vibes. And I'm having to like adjust my mentality to that because I'm just not used to being in that kind of an ecosystem. When you spend a long time living on the street, needless to say, you kind of see the worst of people. And all of that stuff is real, but you can get too attached to your experiences and just think like, well, I've seen how horrible people can be, so that's what people are like. And it's part of what people are like. But then there's all this positive stuff too. And it's like, it's all real. So, I don't know. There's just some deep part of me that's still processing all that. But anyway, let's read some comments and questions from the Discord. The Discord you should join. There were a lot of birthday wishes. Dash Render actually wins the prize. Happy birthday, you filthy animal. Ambassador Naranek, big contributor, had an interesting comment. The VHS wall holder might look better if each respective layer was offset by half a VHS. Break bonded like roofing tiles. Man, I really wish I knew what break bonded meant, but I think I kind of get what he's saying. One of the reasons that I'd have to show this, but one of the reasons I designed it like it did is I was trying to hold the maximum amount of VHSs. Putting space in between them would make the titles themselves more visible, but it would hold less of them. I was kind of just planning on the angle of the VHSs being enough, basically, to make it visually interesting. It might be cooler to do it the way that he's describing, but I'm already printing it at this point. And I really want to I have so many VHSs. A lot of the point of this thing is to just get them like not stacked up on top of each other, so maybe. If I was really hardcore trying to sell this VHS holder for the wall, Maybe I would try to think more about the aesthetics, but it's mostly just for me. Hackzier said, do you have any extra spray painting tricks to keep the cans from splattering? Turning a can upside down and cleaning the spray nozzle briefly onto a scrap surface seems to help. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's also just like, buy the right kind. Rust-Oleum tends to not do that, and crappier ones do that, the stuff he's talking about. Also, just hold it far enough away. You know, splattering happens when you're like really close. Just give it a little bit of distance. That's a mistake that almost everybody makes with spray painting. Also, it can go on too thick and drip. You don't want that. Okay, Sandingo had the final question on Discord, and this is a good one. Really good one. If you had an item and you wanted to have multiple sizes of that item, would you create a listing with multiple variations, or would you create multiple listings? See, this is an interesting question because he's presenting this as a dichotomy. The answer is do both. Make 2 listings. It costs almost nothing to just create multiple listings. And if you're making these things on demand, then what difference does it make? Now, if you're gonna create 2 listings, there are some rules on Etsy. You don't wanna use the same pictures. So just take different pictures, maybe make it in 2 colors or something, and then just make one listing purple, make the other one orange, but have multiple colors you can select. But the reason you create 2 listings, A, there's no reason you have to choose between these 2 options, but B, it's just 2 chances to get your product seen. This is a big one for you guys. This is one of my supreme nuggets right here. What 3D printing has changed, it used to be that the difficult thing to do in a business was make the product. Think about it. Like, if your business is you manufacture refrigerators, Einstein invented one of the first safe refrigerators, by the way. So he kind of had to do this. It's very hard to do that. Like, almost all of the effort is just making the product, right? Before 3D printing and printing in general, I guess you could say, everything was like this. But now I can make multiple new products per day. So there was all this work that was put into advertising and every other aspect of the business other than developing products, because the product part was the hardest thing to do. Nowadays, the strategy to take in 3D printing, unless it's something complex, obviously, is to just make a ton of products, because almost nothing else can do that. I mean, you can do that with like print-on-demand shirts, stickers, those sorts of things. That's a very saturated market, but people do it, you know, people are successful. But just make tons of products. There's no reason not to do it. Now, you do want to put some effort into the marketing and advertising and SEO and the photos and everything. It's not like neglect that, but man, just make tons of stuff. Like, don't try to think about like, ooh, we're just going to meticulously make the perfect thing and we're going to do all this market research and stuff. It's like, do a little bit of that, sure, but just make a bunch of stuff. You don't know what people want. You have no idea. I guarantee you. I've done this for 6 years, and some of the best-selling stuff was not the stuff I thought was going to sell the best. A lot of times it's kind of dumb stuff that sells, honestly. That's why a lot of my products are kind of stupid looking or just silly or whatever. Like, that's what people like. What you're seeing go out the door is what people like. It's not like the thing that I thought would sell best. All right, we'll switch to YouTube. Almost all of these were birthday messages. 3D Shop Solutions said, where is the new M3 is 3D window sign? I'm kind of thinking about working on it. I have the files for this small one, and I think I could just scale them for the large printers. But I'm kind of thinking it through. I mean, I only get to make this once, so I'm trying to make it really cool. But we're probably going to do it. Center Stage says, happy birthday, Mark. Love the content. Keep doing you, brother. That is a good note to end on. You too. Well, I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for all the people that subscribe and watch every day. It means a lot. I'm grateful that Cop Dog got a home today, because he deserves one. Write below what you're grateful for. I like reading it. The entire community benefits from your expressions of gratitude. Tell me what you are experiencing today that is just genuinely joy-inducing. We all like to hear what you have to say, and you will probably get a heart. You will probably get upvotes. It's an upvote fest in these comment sections. Best comment sections in the game. I will catch all of you guys tomorrow and every day after tomorrow. Peace out.